My name is Rhapsody. Welcome back to Dicey Dungeons. We're going to be expecting the unexpected. Here in the second Witch episode, expect the unexpected, a special treat, a random spell each turn. Yes, completely random. So that could be an issue. Rules. One spell slot contains a completely random spell each turn. Hopefully it's a dedicated randomized spell slot rather than replacing things that I have. My wonderful witch, how have you been enjoying your time in the dungeons? Too easy, perhaps? Maybe I'll crank up the difficulty. It's okay, I can do this. It'll be fine, it'll all be fine. That's the spirit, my dear. That can-do attitude is why you're my favorite. Of course, you're all doomed in the long run. It's all about the journey though, right? And I'm just so humbled by the support at home. I'm so supported at home, right? The audience likes me? Not all of them, my dear. Honestly, you're a bit of a divisive figure. But maybe you can win them over now. You can try hard enough. Alright, let's have a look at the spellbook to start with. Ooh, we have Cauldron, Infliction, and Memorize as well. Memorize. Replace the next... replace the spell in slot something with the unexpected spell. With the unexpected spell. What is the... What? The unexpected spell or an unexpected spell? Alright, let's start off against the Magician. What? Replace the spell in slot something with the unexpected spell. So like I could put 2 and 2 and then backfire becomes overwrites infliction, I guess. But I don't want to do that, obviously. Got a 1 out there. I'm also gonna get a 2 to get infliction on the field, roll that on the Cauldron, and then roll it on infliction. It's fine. As long as the enemy goes for shield. All right. Oh, okay. So this bottom corner is the unexpected spell, but they're not always positive. They can be positive or negative. Backfire was an example of a -1. Magic Shield is an example. I have to imagine what would be considered a positive one. And you get the ability to learn them forever by locking them in your spellbook by having doubles at the right time. Okay, sweet. So most of the time, we should just be playing this like a normal combat as a direct result of that. Rough stuff, but at least Crystal Ball is getting closer. Gold Cauldron would be really good, actually, but I don't have the ability to create it. Right? Actually, no, if I roll this, unless I get a 2, I'm fine. Sweet. Oh no, it killed the enemy, dang! So both of those 6s would have gone up, and then I would have memorized Gold's Cauldron. That's unfortunate. Okay, so you want to stall fights as long as you can possibly afford to stall them for, so that you can afford to memorize the things that you want to memorize. Got it. I'm gonna put that on an empty slot. Reduce 2 damage from each attack. Interesting. Iron armor is pretty good. You know what? I'll try it. Dang. If that ended up giving me a 5 back, then we would have had the iron armor out. Or rather, we would have had it locked in. Okay, no doubling. Magic Barrier is out there. Magic Barrier. Ooh, that'd be good. I can crit. Yeah, Crystal Ball. That'll do it. 2 6s. Put Magic Barrier on the 6th. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. So now we have access to Magic Barrier, and all the rest of this is just damage for the face, right? How do I do the most possible? Infliction. Oh. There, I guess. Cauldron back, sure. Let's try. I don't know if I could have done more damage that turn. I feel like, specifically, the valuation of using a die in order to, you know, channel a spell and using it to then actually use the spell is something I'm having some difficulty with. Okay. So I can't lock in Glass Cauldron here, unfortunately. Freeze a die and roll a 1 is pretty good, though. But I can't get Memorize out on the field, so just gotta go for kill. Also, thank you to those of you who told me that throwing a burning die actually does 2 damage. Apparently it caused me to miss lethal, but at the very least now I know. I'm gonna take the electric shock. And it uses evens, I'll put it on the 5 then. Nudge. So Nudge actually makes a little sense just because Magic Barrier costs a 5 and Magic Shield is kind of garbage as well. But it's an odd to add 3 shields, so that's... I guess that's decent with a 1. But also Magic Shield shouldn't stay for too long. I'm going to be using Magic Barrier. Yeah. Let's have a look back at the spellbook and start to consider whether or not we want, you know, Electric Shock or Magic Barrier possibly out first. Stereo Head is very weak to Shock, so I am going to change this to be the Electric Shock before going in. Dryad actually is also pretty weak to Shock. Is that true? No, it's not. Dryad has 3 dice. It's fine. Stereo Head has only 2 pieces of equipment and 2 dice, so they can only get 1 thing off if you shock them. Oh, Blizzard would be so good. Fine, yeah. I'm not gonna do anything else on that turn. It does feel like maybe Memorize is something that I want to have out at all times here in the early game. Just so that I can build my spell slots first. Then I can pivot to using them afterwards. Especially because that fight was never really going to be that dangerous, so should have still had Memorize. Hall of Mirrors. I actually really like Hall of Mirrors. I don't want to overwrite Magic Barrier, though. I'll override Infliction, sure. We put it on a 2 beforehand. It was totally fine to do so. But then Hand of Mirrors is the one that I want out in the opening, right? Get this extra die really early. Split a dice into 2 damage reusable. 2 damage reusable. So that means if I can generate extra die, then just having 1 magic dagger out means that however many die I have, I do 2 times that in damage. So is that ever good? Do I have ever enough to support that? Like, no, probably not. But also maybe? Because Hall of Mirrors is about getting more dice. Gives me something to do with all of that extra dice. Yeah, but it's a very unimpactful thing to do. I don't think I end up taking that. I don't think any of the other options particularly appeal to me either, though. Okay. Magic Missile would be useful if I was still relying on Infliction for damage, but I'm not. 3s. I could Memorize that Spark right now if I desperately wanted to. Good thing I don't, though. Yeah, that's no Hall of Mirrors for me, unfortunately. No even charge of Cauldron. Okay. So I can channel Memorize, I can channel Hall of Mirrors, I can channel Nudge and Electric Shock. So I'll channel Electric Shock over here, do 4 with it. There's no way I memorize the spark, right? Burning a single die. It's pretty bad. But I should probably prepare a memorize just in case that becomes eventually useful. Sure. Oh, good. Wait, are you gonna complete? Damn. I was really hoping you would completely avoid the trap as a result of that good roll. Yeah, I can memorize Cauldron, but I already have it, so it doesn't seem to be useful. I'll leave myself with a 1 so I can make another Cauldron and reroll if I need to. Oh, never mind. As it exhausts, it disappears, so I imagine memorize would no longer work. Interesting. I'm gonna pivot away from Hall of Mirrors. It took me 2 turns to get my first Hall of Mirrors off. Which means that, like, it's 3 turns until it pays off at all. Ugh. I'm glad I got an even at the very end there. That's what we were aiming for. The enemy gets exactly the right die for this. Ugh. Ice Shard, do damage and freeze. Still not that good. Like, that and the Electric Shock means that any die I roll is useful. And I freeze and shock the enemies kind of consistently. I don't know, maybe that's worth it, actually. Fine, I'm gonna memorize. I just realized that memorize puts it specifically in the slot that you put the doubles in of, which I should have definitely known. Number 1, I've done it to the magic barrier before. But I've just replaced memorize, so I no longer have access to memorize. I'm actually kind of fine with that. Because Ice Shard, Electric Shock, and Hall of Mirrors, as well as Magic Barrier to defend, seems like a deck. It really does. Odd and even. Get him. Especially as I have... one sec. Even, damage and get a new die, and then throw 3. Beautiful. I hope I level up here. Otherwise, that was real bad. Upgraded spell slot, prepared spell slot. Okay, so the upgrades just removes their restrictions, right? Pretty sure the upgrade just removes their restrictions. Upgrade on Hand of Mirrors. Makes it only an even that you need. Take the upgrade. Alright, let's also have a quick look at these upgrades. Yeah, it just removes the limitation on Ice Shard and Electric Shock, to be expected. Nudge, don't care. Magic Barrier, just only an odd. Neat. And Hall of Mirrors is only an even. Yeah, that makes sense as well. Cool. So the upgraded slot is not the prepared slot, unfortunately. But probably what we end up doing is I change this spell from Magic Barrier. And then on the first couple turns, I'm putting a Hall of Mirrors down in the upgraded slot and then an even. Right, so as long as I roll 2 and an even on the first turn, I'm pretty good. I could also put Cauldron on the Magic Barrier slot to re-roll, but I think having the time out of stalling with Magic Barrier is going to be more impactful for us. Right, Marshmallow. Well, boy, howdy. I do that, and then Ice Shard only allows you to use odds, but if I put it in the upgraded area, I can use anything. Save myself 2 damage that turn. Hex. Even as 1 weaken, odd as 1 shock. Cauldron there. Re-roll it. Oh, we do get a 6. It's not like I can make a Hall of Mirrors, though. Throw the frozen one at the enemy as well. Fine. Yeah, still holding off on Crystal Ball. So, usually I would hold off on Crystal Ball if I'm about to level up after I fight the enemy at the end, so I'm already healing anyway. But it's just there's 2 apples outside this fight. I can just already do it. Okay. Adding 5 to shield isn't even that good, though. Like, it doesn't even do that much for us. I'm gonna overwrite that now. I think that's a relic of a bygone time for us. And I also think I'm gonna get a second ice shard out. So I now have 2 ice shards. Only one of them can be triggered by anything. One of them has to have an odd. Unfortunately, it got transmuted down. That'll do it. Neat. So yeah, I didn't really memorize that much, so this is kind of just like a normal witch run. Okay, anything that now changes what I do here. Splitting into magic missile or magic dagger. Does any of that make extra sense? No. Not to me, at least. Yeti and baby squid. I'm gonna hit the baby squid early to see if I get any fire from here. So I don't want to freeze the Yeti, ideally, because freezing the Yeti makes them far better against me. No, wait, the Yeti is Snowball, right? Is the Yeti Snowball, or is that the Abominable Snowman? I think the Yeti is the one that freezes you, and the Snowman is the one that does snowballs, but I'm not certain. Basically, one of them controls you, and the other one damages you. They both control you because they're both freezing at the same time, but it's just whether I need to be concerned about the incoming damage from that enemy. Yikes. Not great results here. Yeah, because 4's being nudged is just real garbage. I'm gonna Hall of Mirrors in the upgraded slot. Get the even in there. Do I even want to make a nudge? Yeah, I guess I do. It's either that or 1 damage. Drain a health and get a new dice. Blood Cauldron would actually be really good. Right. Well, it costs a die to create a Blood Cauldron. So unless you're actually effectively using the reroll, it's fine rather than good. Good, that's another even. I'll Hall of Mirrors back in that same slot to refresh it. Put another even in there. And now I'm going to channel an ice shard in the same slot. I don't need any more die at this point. Good turn for us. Do 20 damage, burn all dice from a meteor. That seems like a good idea to me. Oh, it was only a 1, unfortunately. Yikes. So 5, 5, 16. Yeah, we're 3 short of actually being able to do that this time. Alright, I'm gonna Hall of Mirrors, and then put a Cauldron there. I think we're back in the position of just like complete control, dominance over this fight. Meteor again? No, that's infliction. All right, so now I need the ability just to pivot back to damage. We have the Electric Shock and Ice Shard. We can generate only one of those this turn. We can generate 2 of the Electric Shock, though. Okay, so Electric Shock goes there. Hit. Electric Shock goes there. Hit. Ice Shard goes there, and then randomized damage. Oh, that could have been lethal. Thankfully, all they can do is blind me. Goodbye, baby squid. Would stake for dealing 30 damage to vampire, 30 damage, or the final part to vampires? Neat. I would take that, possibly. Need double. Set all dice to that value. If this is upgraded, I imagine it becomes pretty good. Like, it probably removes its double, right? If I set all of my dice to 6, how useful is that for me? Like, not that useful, is it? I'm trying to preview the upgrade of the skeleton key. It's just not working. Yeah, touch saddening. Really would like to see, but it's probably you only need to use 1 die. Yeah, that enables me to get like a bunch of 6s. Which just becomes shards and electric shocks. Magic barrier being on 6 is a little bit of a problem. I guess like I can nudge to 5s and then I can make a bunch of electric shocks and do a bunch of electric shocks. That's actually really good. Nudging to 5 is really good for us. Well, not nudging, but skeleton keying to 5. After we obviously have a large amount of die. This build, like I think the equipment offered to me directly incentivizes some sort of ramping build like we're doing. I think we've kind of cottoned on to the general vicinity of what we want to be doing for this run in particular. All right, Cauldron upgraded. Your moves are Ice Shard and Ice Age. Okay. Gain 5 shield from Magic Barrier. Could be useful, but don't I level up after this fight? So I think I just go for damage. I'll reroll 4s happily. 6s. 6 is a fine get, but only if I end up with the Hall of Mirrors. Again. 6 is a fine get, but only if I end up with the Hall of Mirrors. I'm gonna get another Cauldron down there. Really? At least Magic Spear is here. Oof. Right, another Cauldron. I'm still just looking for 2s. Really? No, you give me a single 2. That's fine. We do have the Magic Spear. And we do level up after this fight anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna skeleton key in the upgraded slot. Set all dice to 6, as I imagined. So if I get a 5, I just have lethal this turn. Enemy gets to freeze 1 of my dice, so... Oh, never mind, I still get my 5. So I should just have lethal this turn, right? Set all of them to 5. Oh, but it actually consumes it, so I only end up with 2 5s total. It's a bit short. Just a touch. Alright, so we need to go back to Electrical Shock, but I don't have damage, so... What we actually need to do is... Get a Hall of Mirrors out. Get a Cauldron out, re-roll, get an even, get a Hall of Mirrors, start building up, and then kill the Yeti. It's fine. We heal after the fight. Drain 3 health is super useful right there. You can get a new Cauldron that I can re-roll in at once. The reason to do that is the possibility of getting a 5 that goes in the Magic Barrier. But I did get an Ice Shard, and that'll go over the Cauldron. Hit the enemy next turn. 5, I take here. Yeah, I mean, I'm just staying in this fight to charge up my Crystal Ball. You know me. Obviously, I wouldn't be in this fight for any prolonged period of time if there wasn't a really, really, really good reason. Oh, never mind. I can throw. Got him. That's the level. Doppel dice and duplicate. Doppel dice can never doppel dice into a 5. Duplicate can duplicate a 5 though. So, I had a comment on a recent video, and I had actually a couple of comments talking about infinites that can be done with the witch. I would hasten to think about the resources very carefully. Duplicate gives you 2 die, sure, but you need 1 die to channel it and 1 die to cast it. So you put 2 die in and get 2 die out. It's not an infinite just to have duplicate. But it's real good still. Do I take that over the skeleton key? Because the skeleton key's problem is that it's only good in the late game after I have a bunch of dice. But duplicate is good in the early game, and it helps me get all of that, all of those dice rather. So some easy replacement there. Go for the shot. Deal 1 damage, get an odd dice, and there's also a magic spear here. Magic spear in an upgraded slot only... Actually, no, it upgrades how much damage it does. I think it does 14. But it does still take 2 in order to actually channel it. That said, if I'm ever going to replace the magic barrier with anything, it's with magic spear. Check this first. Catastrophe. Inflict shock, burn, and freeze. Shock, burn, and freeze. I don't know what it is upgraded. I'll take this over the magic barrier. If it's not good upgraded, then I'll skip and I'll purchase the other thing instead. 2 shock, 2 burn, 2 freeze. 2 shock, 2 burn, 2 freeze locks enemies down. But the thing is, it's not in the right slot right now. Duplicate is the right thing opening. Yeah, duplicate is the right thing to have in the opening. I'm gonna fight the fireman and decide ultimately whether or not I think this build is viable in this point. Fireman's weak to ice, great. So I'm gonna fill all of my slots right now with duplicates just so that I have something in them. Be super useful next turn. Crystal ball as well, actually. I'm gonna set up a cauldron in the upgraded so that I can try and find something still useful. 1, possibly useful. 2 is useful though. So the 2 gets a Hall of Mirrors there. I channel into it, get another cauldron in that area, and then the gains start re-rolling. Fine, get another cauldron in that area, start re-rolling. 2. Oh, that's another Hall of Mirrors, beautiful. Double Hall of Mirrors out of the first turn, lovely. Oh, you gotta love that. Enemy does absolute maximum damage the turn after. I'm very glad I used Crystal Ball. Would have gone to waste otherwise. All right. I can't generate ice shards right now. That did not help. Let's get a cauldron in here. The reason for the cauldron is I'm looking for 3s so that I can use ice shard. And I don't want to reroll all my 1s because I'm still looking for Hall of Mirrors. I'll keep that just in case. So I can Hall of Mirrors at the end of this turn. But I might need another cauldron in order to try and get this going. A 6? Do I keep a 6 for the moment? I'll keep a 6 for the moment. It channels a catastrophe at the end of the turn in the worst case scenario. And in fact, I think we are now in the worst case scenario. So I'm going to put the catastrophe in the... Oh, dang it. I shouldn't have done that yet, but I'm going to put it in the upgraded slot. Oh, no, wait, I'm totally fine to do this because I can Hall of Mirrors, this duplicate, and then upgrade it. It's just I didn't want to remove that duplicate from the board, unfortunately. Oh, well. Perfect. Burning the enemy's dice is not helping the whole catastrophe thing. Okay. Let's dupe. We'll trigger catastrophe. I think I roll this 4. Getting a 2 back, okay. So I can Ice Shard over Hall of Mirrors because 5 is totally effective there. Then I can throw these. Yeah, beautiful. Just get the enemy to completely pass their turn. Back to me. Got a ridiculous amount of dice. Just 30. Yeah, that fight took ages, but at the absolute least, I know that this floor is littered with apples I'm yet to collect. So, it's still fine. But it is a little bit of a wake-up call about the viability of my deck. I still feel like we hold on to the catastrophe over duplicate, but the interaction between burn and freeze, in particular, that burning dice can't be affected by the freezing, so you can have like a 6 that's burning and the enemy still gets to keep their 6, makes the catastrophe actually less powerful in my mind. I think I will keep it over the spear, but it's close. Much closer than I'd like to admit. Because it really feels like I need the ability to pivot to damage late. And like pivoting to damage for us is I need to roll 5s or 3s in order to generate the things that actually deal damage. And then I need to put high dice in them as well. Well, but that's also the same kind of thing that would happen with a magic spear as well. So I don't know if that fixes the problem. Catastrophe does give us longer in fights, like it slows them, definitely. Handyman, bunch of options on the other side, sure. That's really good. I'm gonna dupe that, get the catastrophe upgraded out. I'm gonna channel an ice shard. And get my first catastrophe. Beautiful. So the ice shard is in a non-upgraded slot, so it can only use odds, but... So the enemy manages to do... Oh, damn it! Because they combined and actually got 7 in value, they do get the hammer off that turn. Damn. Very, very ingenuitive of them. So I've frozen all of the enemy's dice, but the burn takes effect first. So 2 of these dice are burning, and then the freeze only can affect 1. It seems like the order should be implied, but I guess because the only interaction I'm currently aware of is between the, you know, the ice and the fire, you would assume that the ice would end up worse off. That so that I have something. I don't really know what I want to do here now. Antidote to cure poison? Not really necessary. Well, crystal ball, just in case. Alright. Just a bunch of 1s back. Let's throw a 1 in that area to reroll a couple times, see if we can get something useful. Ice shard damage? We'll have to do. Put an ice shard there and just do 2 damage with it. Also freezes a dice, but the enemy has... Oh, I wish you'd just gone for the rest of the pea shooter, but I understand why you you straight away. Dupe that. Definitely do 4. Guess I just freeze all the enemy die. It's exactly what you needed to get the hammer and the pea shooter off that turn. That's just... Oh, you're doing real well on your rolls there, bud. Just gotta say. Teleport spell. That was, what's teleport spell again? It's a 4. It does something in particular. The wizard has access to it. Awesome. Put it here and here. Get 2 of your buddies along and put it everywhere. Yeah, just health and health. Thank you very much. Gold Cauldron overrides Cauldron, definitely. We want evens, right? No, but evens don't hit Ice Shard or Electric Shock. They hit Catastrophe, Duplicate, and Hall of Mirrors, but that's good though. Because then, like, in the late game, we'll have enough dice to use Ice Shard and Electric Shock effectively regardless. I think. Freezing the Kraken is going to be very important here, though. Fine. Catastrophe goes on that slot, and exactly what you might expect goes in. I could have done 2 extra damage that turn if I played the duplicate earlier. Ouch. Set all dice to the same value. Alright. I mean, I can get a bunch of 4s out this turn, but then I can't do anything with them. Duplicate that. It's not a 4 or more, not a 4 or more. Oh, it's a 3. Neat. So I can just put a 4 and a 4 in there now. That's a 3 as well. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let's get that duplicate out. Now, I'm not going to actually be able to use that this turn at all. It's kind of fine. Never mind. I'm going to go for the crystal ball. So I can. Great. And then after all of that, I can even Hall of Mirrors right here, and then immediately replace it with the Catastrophe back. Oh, which I could have just done 2 and 6 on a different, and then replace it with a duplicate at the end. So I could have just done that there. I mean, it's exactly the same. Thank heck those 3 were frozen, because that was looking bad. Ooh, repeat next attack on that Fury. Interesting. Four more. 1, 3, 5. Dang, that one actually connected. That's unfortunate. I really wanted... Oh, great. I wanted that one not to be cursed, and it wasn't. Lovely. A little bit of a problem, though. That one wasn't even cursed. That's wild as hell. All right. Don't fail me. Hey. Beautiful. I hate that I burnt all of those die, because as I just locked in 3 6s for my enemy. Oh, you actually prioritize that over Overwhelm? That's interesting. I wouldn't have assumed that much. If the enemy rolls a 1, that dice is locked. Can you freeze all of the enemies' die by doing that? Hang on. Odd. So it's even and it's lower than... So it's 2. This is a 2 in here. So I can odd freeze 1 more die from the enemy. Can't do that. Alright, I'll have you lock if you roll a 1. And then I'll use the Hall of Mirrors in the upgraded area. Yeah, okay. So the frozen ones don't get affected by the lock, but the enemy did just naturally roll 2 1s. That said they were 1s, so how effective was it going to be? Okay. Dupe the highest value one on the field. Also going to make another duplicate in the same location, dupe it again. Very important I freeze the enemy this time, but I've set myself in a position where I literally just cannot. Would my 4 have helped? The 4 wouldn't have helped. Well, this could be a problem next turn. We'll see, I guess. Throw the final one. Oh, we're dead. We're so dead. Look at that hand. What is that? Oh, I couldn't be deader if I tried. Okay, so the big thing, the big takeaway from this fight against the Kraken is that burning dice, preventing you from being able to freeze those same dice, is awful. It's tragic. And for that reason, Catastrophe is not as good a card as it might appear on its face, because it burns 2 die and then freezes 2. So the Kraken was oftentimes just has 2 burning die that they can actually use, rather than, you know, being able to lower everything significantly. I would have been able to avoid a lot of being blinded as well as a lot of being cursed if I had got those off. I might not have been able to prevent all of the overwhelms from the enemy, but I would have been able to save myself a lot of actions by not having to deal with the possibility that, oh, this isn't going to be the right die, I can't see its effect, or rather this piece of equipment isn't going to work. For the moment, my name has been Rhapsody, the name of the game has been Dicey Dungeons. We'll win with the witch eventually. Hopefully you've been enjoying yourselves. Next episode is going to be the Jester, the secret character that we unlocked 2 episodes ago and played last episode, and will again next. Hopefully you've been enjoying yourselves, and hopefully we'll see you next time.